This episode took place September 20th, and a month right before, less than a month, 3 weeks right before ITC Vegas 2024, which is a 3-day event. It's probably one of the biggest 3-day event in the industry. Definitely top 3 globally. And I'm really appreciative of Bill taking the time out to come onto our show to do this episode with us. Unfortunately, the time that this episode drop, it will be post ITC event, but maybe we can have him back again and do a recap of the ITC event. So this way that he show up on our episode again. But anyways, this is the first time I interview Bill. We have said hi and hello in the passings, and this is the first full-on conversation that we're gonna have. So I'm pretty excited about it. And those of you who've been to ITC Vegas, you definitely will appreciate this episode. Enjoy. Hi, welcome to this episode of Industry Voice. Today, we have Bill Harris from ITC Vegas. How are you doing, Bill?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good morning. It's a great morning. Thrilled to be with you, Jeff. It's good to see you again.
When I built this show in my head, and I was like, I'm gonna launch a podcast, Industry's Voice, the who's who, the people who have their own community, people who have their own following, and people who are big influencer in the insurance community and the InsurTech community. Bill, this very small group on the top of that list, and sir, you are on the top of that list.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a long journey these 8 years building up ITC Vegas and the whole InsureTech Connect, global community. So it's been a labor of love. It's a fascinating story. Yeah.
So there's like less than 5 people that's interested in this whole influencer world of InsurTech. And if we have 120 seconds to grab our audience attention, I'm just let's just say this right now. Last 6-7 years, $70-80 billion came into insurance to build up InsurTech, try to build the future of insurance.
Yeah.
And you gotta have community first and believe in that mission. And Bill was probably around everybody who was part of that community, whether it's on the founder side, the vendor side, the VC side. And ITC Vegas maybe is one of the true organizations that's been there on day one. So
Yeah.
Bill, co-founder of this whole thing. So I'm excited to have you on the pod today. But what I want our audience, not just to hear about ITC Vegas, well, of course they will, but really, about Bill. So Bill, if you can, tell us your background and then how did you stumble onto insurance and events and media. So give us all of it.
Right. I'll try to make it brief because I can talk for forever, as my wife knows. But yeah, so I'm from, Jeff and I were both from the DMV. I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. It's funny, I just took my dad a couple of days ago back to Howard Law School. My whole family's from New Orleans. My dad came up here to Howard for law school and decided, hey, all the lawyers are in D.C., so we put down roots here, set up a law firm on K Street. I grew up right outside of D.C., studied economics at Harvard. And in my junior year, I had an internship with Aetna. And so that was my first exposure to insurance. It's funny, I didn't really do anything in terms of real insurance there. I was working on I was basically a data entry guy, entering information in the spreadsheets, which is a whole nother facet of my experience. Everyone kind of calls me like the Excel nerd. I like teach Excel classes internally at my company here. But I graduated school, wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. I ended up working for Merrill Lynch doing deferred compensation plans, high-end, tax shelters and that kind of thing. Like I was setting up one for the CEO of CBS, the television network. People were like, oh yeah, I make $100 million. I only need like, 23 million to survive on, put the rest of it in shelter. So Yeah, I was exposed to like some financial services stuff in my early career. But I come from a family really of do-gooders, and my career shifted. Uh, did a bunch of things earlier on with like kind of more entrepreneurial, startup-y types of things. Ended up starting my own company, a FinTech company, with a couple other folks back in the early 2000s, which was very successful. We provided payment processing for major retailers like CVS, Barnes and Noble, Kroger, Safeway, etc. Um, and then I got a call one day from Jay Weintraub. I also, as part of that startup kind of experience, Jay and I had worked together at advertising.com, which was doing obviously online ads, lead generation, digital marketing, that kind of thing. I hired Jay. He worked for me way back when. So, fast forward 20 years or so, I get this call from Jay, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to do an event." And I knew Jay was in the event space because that's why he left advertising.com. So I'm going to do this event in insurance. I was like, "Oh, interesting." I had this internship in insurance, and he was like, "I want you to join me." And I was like, "I really don't know a whole lot about insurance, Jay. Like, it's not really I'm a fintech guy." And he's like, "Well, this is InsurTech. It's like the next iteration. It's where, technology's coming into the insurance space." And I was approached by this guy named Caribou. And I said, "I know a guy named Caribou. He was 2 years ahead of me at Harvard." I said, "He doesn't know me, but I know him because, again, another guy I went to school with who went to high school with me lived in his dorm." And he would be like, "Oh, that guy's named after a deer, whatever." We would laugh about it. And I was like, "I know this dude, Caribou." So it was like this weird kind of, this is all just too, it was like karma, man. It was literally like, this is too strange to not be, great. So I took a leap of faith, left the company that I'd co-founded, that I was running for like 12 years, to jump on with Jay and Caribou to start InsureTech Connect. And I knew, again, very little about insurance. I knew very little about events. And Jay was like, "Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. You'll learn everything you need to do. I need someone with your kind of personality, with your kind of intelligence, with your kind of drive to help us build this. Like, you've been building up companies from, essentially ideation to, $25 million, top lines. We need someone who can do something like that. Like, we think we're going to be on a rocket ship, and we need someone that can help us grow this and hit the ground." So that was my foray into ITC. And that first year, I started in March. ITC was in October that first year, and in 2016, I think I have it right. It's always September, October. We switch every year or so. But had I known how much work it would have taken to start an event in only 6 months, I would have said no. Because now we spend literally 362 days planning for ITC every year. The only days I'm not thinking about ITC in terms of planning are the days we're actually on site. So it's absolutely been insane. And like you said, like all the stars came out really that first year. We had an amazing launch, and people that didn't come out that first year, they heard about it and they had FOMO like never before. So the second year was even crazier. Like, we doubled year over year and kept on doubling, doubling, doubling.
I'm gonna pause you. Thank you for all your support to our channel. Here is a quick word from our sponsor. Please click on the link below in the comment section to sign up for a demo with Track AI.
What if your insurance sales conversations could work harder for you? Meet Track, your AI-powered conversation intelligence partner. Track automatically captures and analyzes every customer interaction, providing instant call summaries, risk analysis, and AI-driven coaching insights. Say goodbye to manual note-taking and hello to more selling time. Track handles the admin work while you handle the revenue. Fully integrated with your favorite platforms. Plus, get custom AI analysis tailored to your unique business needs. Transform your sales team's performance with Track. Visit track.ai today.
Click the link in the description below to schedule a demo with Track today.
When you were launching the first year, right?
Yeah.
That was 2016. So when you were texting people and calling people and emailing people, give me some of that reaction of how you guys. I mean, I'm sure your email templates, right? Like when you email, text people, what was some of that initial reaction like? If you can give
people are just like, what are you? A lot of people are like, what is InsurTech? Like, what are you talking about? First of all, so I'd say it's kind of like FinTech, you know. And I'm a FinTech entrepreneur, whatever, and I explain that to people. There's a great story that always Jay and I still crack up about. We had heard about this guy Nigel Walsh, who's now big superstar at Google Cloud. Nigel was with I want to say Deloitte at the time, and people were like, this guy is like one of the top insurtech minds over across the pond in the UK. And it was important for us that first year to get people from all over the globe. We didn't want to just be a US show. We really wanted it to be, we modeled it as like the CES of insurance, right? So you got to get the top people from all over the place. So we finally got connected. Like I had to, I texted him, I emailed him, I had other people trying to reach him and whatever. Finally got a meeting with Nigel. And we explained, hey, here's what we're doing, whatever. And he says, look, guys, I go to a lot of conferences, and it sounds really good, but frankly, it sounds like a jolly. And Jay and I, we're like, what? A jolly? He's like, I can't go to my boss and say, I'm going to Las Vegas for a conference. He's like, my boss is going to say, absolutely not. Like you're going on like a pleasure trip. You're going to play golf and get some sun or whatever. And we were like, no, it's not. Like, that's not what it's about at all. So it's funny because we were like, what's a jolly? It's like a boondoggle, essentially. And so we had to convince him, no, this isn't a boondoggle. No, we're not just going to sit around at the pool and, drink pina coladas and martinis or whatever. Like, we're actually here to do business here. We're going to connect the carriers, the investors, right? The InsurTech startups, and get this whole ecosystem really, excited and flowing and poised for growth. And so when we got Nigel to buy in, that was really an accomplishment for us. And it opened up a lot of doors because people were like, oh, folks, a lot of the thought leaders, a lot of the real influencers are actually coming to the show. We had Brian Dupereau from AIG, who was actually at the time, I think, with Hamilton Insurance, as one of our first keynotes. It was great. And so people were like, okay, this event is kind of different. I give, again, a lot of the credit is Caribou. Caribou had the idea because Caribou was like, look, I invest in a lot of these companies, and I want to, help the companies grow and et cetera. But he said, I want an event, a conference that has a very specific format because I just don't want to sit around and listen to people all day long. He's like, the content's important. A lot of people love learning. He's like, for me, he's like, it's about meeting people. It's about connecting with people. So that's why we called it InsureTech Connect. And that's why in the center of our exhibit hall, every year, we've had this massive one-to-one meeting area. That's why the very first year, we used an app where people could connect and set up meetings, right? That had really not been done. Like we were, again, the early adopters, the first movers, which a lot of folks have now copied. And now that becomes a hallmark of a lot of events in this insurance and InsurTech space. That was us in 2016.
So audience, if you're listening to this and you see Nigel anywhere in any event, especially the Vegas event, make sure you say, welcome to the Jolly.
Right. Welcome to the Jolly. You having a jolly time?
Oh my God. That's so funny. I can't wait to say it to him. You mentioned
probably find him on the run. He's always out running too. They get up. I don't know if you're a runner, Jeff. I'm not a runner. My knees, after playing basketball for years, my knees don't do running. But if you want to get up at 6 o'clock and have a run, Nigel and his crew are out there very early getting it in.
You mentioned the word influencer, but also you can't just have one part, right? Like there's an influencer. Who was some of the first VCs that bought in and sponsors that bought in and say, you know what, we're gonna found our next big bet, our next big entrepreneur at this event. Who were some of the big sponsors and VCs that bought in?
Oh wow. So sponsors are first year was like Oliver Wyman was our presenting sponsor. They're a big help. There are a lot of, we call them the ITC OGs, right? So like Majesco, I remember like Denise Garth. Majesco was a big sponsor early on. I want to say Deloitte, again, for Nigel, Deloitte, EY, a lot of the big consulting firms from the VC angle. There's so many to name, and I'll probably, I'll probably forget some of them, but like, I remember like Ruth Foxblade or Anthemis, Amir Kabir, oh gosh, Aquiline has been coming for many years. I can't remember if they were there for the very first year or not. Core VC. I mean, there are obviously QED, which was Caribou's fund back in the day in 2016. There are Munich Re and Munich Re Ventures. The reinsurers, Munich Re, Swiss Re, et cetera, came on board very early and were big supporters, big sponsors. There's so many that really supported us very early on and helped us to, give the event that, hey, this is, when the big names come on, you see that roster and that sponsor grid. And again, that's what Jay was very expert in from a events perspective. He was like, once you get the big name sponsors and supporters, and we again, we had carriers, right, which is key, and I'll get back to that. We had carrier sponsors and carriers coming and carriers speaking, right? We had VCs coming and speaking. We had the startups, the InsurTechs coming and obviously speaking. And we had an area for the InsurTechs, which we call the innovation zone, the innovation alley, that was easy to find them because, part of the thing was like, who are the older companies, who are like the solutions providers that are mature versus who are the guys that are essentially, starting out, coming out of their garage, who are looking for funding, who are at the cutting edge of innovation. It's important for us to be able to visually differentiate those guys from everyone else. So we gave them different booths, which we call kiosks, which still happen now. But having all those folks and having that grid on our website of all these major players and all these great speakers very early on, that gave everyone else kind of the confidence, like, oh, these guys who I've never heard of, who spell InsurTech differently. People didn't even know how to spell InsurTech. We spelled it with 2 E's. Everyone else spelled it with 1 E, that kind of thing. Like that gave the delegates like, oh, wow, this is something I should really come to. And again, that initial FOMO, even that first year, people were like, I got to come. We had a lot of people just show up literally like at the door that first day. We thought we'd have 800, maybe 1,000 or so people, that first year. We had 1,500 people. Like we were literally like at the like fire marshal limit for the space that we had. And
Wow.
we didn't have enough seats for the opening keynote that Brian Duperreault, Caribou was introducing Brian Duperreault. Like, people were literally like, standing room only. And people were crammed in like sardines, but the enthusiasm was there. And like I said, the FOMO was absolutely incredible afterwards. And people were like, hey, did you go to that? Did you hear about that? And it just, after that, it became a snowball. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. But we had a lot of early support. And a lot of those folks I talked about, like, for example, Majesco. Majesco still is a massive sponsor. They're a title sponsor of ours. McKinsey and Company is our presenting sponsor, but Majesco is doing a lot of things this year. EY and Deloitte and all those guys, they keep coming back year after year after year because they know that ITC Vegas is a terrific place to meet to meet and discover, really. And in this post-pandemic world where everyone's working from home, everyone's on Zoom and having these kinds of conversations, meeting face to face now is a very it's a unique experience, right? You
Yeah.
don't see people face to face quite as much. We were just joking before we started, like, you and I live 45 minutes away from each other, right? But I basically only see you at events. I see you at ITC, and I see you at other industry events. But like we're right down the street from each other. 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been strange for us to,
No, which is
work in each other's backyards, basically.
Yeah. So you guys had a monster turnout last year. What's your highest number so far?
Yeah, it was last year. We had a little bit over 9,000 people, 9,046 registrants. So yeah, it was massive. We're on pace for that again this year. I think we'll be slightly higher than that this year. It's again in this post-pandemic world, it's so much harder to predict. Like, again, I'm an Excel nerd. Like I run a lot of forecasting tables and what have you based on the trends of all the past years. It's these last 2 or 3 years have been harder to predict because a lot of people decide kind of at the last minute, I'm going to come and show up. So we'll see, but we're trending nicely. We're about, we're very much on pace. We're going to have, again, a lot of carriers and reinsurers. I think that's really, what separates us from a lot of other events. Like we talk to talk, like we say, like, hey, we have a lot of carriers. We have thousands of carriers from the PNC side and from the life side, like literally all the top PNC carriers. Last year, we had 80 of the top 100. We should have a similar number this year. Last year on the life side, we had virtually all the top 25 life insurers. We're doing exceptionally well there as well. We even have a life annuities and group benefits neighborhood this year because we have so many people who come to the show who are from that life insurance sector. And, initially everyone's like, oh, it's a PNC show. It's a PNC show. Yeah, we have a lot of PNC, but we have a lot of life. It's a technology show, right? It's technology and innovation. So you're seeing that in both areas of PNC, obviously was kind of the driver of things for many years. But now you're starting to see a lot of that tech adoption in life and a lot of conversations around how to make life and benefits, how to leverage tech to make that experience, particularly on the customer side, a lot more seamless and a lot more frictionless.
That roll into my next part. You guys have a whole lot of vendor this year and a lot more than what I used to see you guys with. You guys are going to the live space and you guys are going to the broker space as well in the events. So that's like another new thing that you guys are adding. And like a lot of our listeners are agents in the broker space. So what do you guys got going on this year?
Yeah, well, no, we're excited about that. So a few years back, we had what we called ITC Connect. And it was really, we're trying to get the independent agents involved. And what happened with ITC Connect is it kind of really got dominated by brokers, right? Because again, in terms of buying the technology and discovering the technology was more of the large players who were like, hey, we need to streamline our operations, do things with our management systems and our, CRMs and what have you. So ITC Connect kind of morphed into what we call Broker Tech Connect with Broker Tech Ventures, who's been a great long-term supporter of ours. So this year we were saying, after last year's show, we were saying, wow, there's such a big piece of the insurance audience that we're not capturing at the show, which is the independent agent, right? Guys like you, Jeff, who used to like literally sell policies directly, to consumers or to businesses. We need those people, those boots on the ground involved. So this year we have a few things. We have ITC agents, which is an all-day kind of, we call it an event within an event, which is all day Tuesday. The first day is Tuesday, October 15th. We run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in October, 4 weeks from now, right? So ITC Agents is an all-day Tuesday event. We have a couple folks like Ryan Hanley, Chris Paradiso, Aubrey Knight. We have a great list of people on our website who have advised us on how to put this together. And it's really, how do you optimize this? Yes, there's technology involved, but like last year, our keynote speaker was Gary Vaynerchuk, right? And he was talking about like, how do you growth hack, right? How do you grow your business? How do you grow your book of business, your portfolio? How do you, obtain leads and convert those leads and that kind of thing? That's really what ITC Agents is going to be about. How do you grow your business and manage your business? And so we realize people are taking, a few days out of their production schedule, right, to come and learn. So we have to have it action packed. It has to be hard hitting. It has to be, how to grow your business. How do you make more money ultimately, right, as an agent? So we're excited about that. My colleague Drake Slake, who Lawhead has put together just an awesome agenda, great people, great speakers. And then we have, and so that's Tuesday, as well as part of the day, Wednesday, we'll have some roundtables for agents and people that buy an agent's ticket. Hey, you stay for the rest of the show, right? Find out what else is happening. Check out our expo hall, make some more connections, talk to carriers if you're trying to get, appointments with carriers and that kind of thing. And then also we have ITC brokers. So again, we have a great list of people. Alexis Vaughn, who was with Cowbell for a long time, now runs her own consulting firm. She is our lead on ITC brokers. Again, Broker Tech Ventures is a massive supporter. So it's like Holmes Murphy, M3, a bunch of those folks from Des Moines. Susan Hatton sits on our advisory board. Dan Keogh has been a great supporter for many years. So we're, they're terrific people. Mike Victorson from M3. So anyway, we have ITC brokers for the larger, groups who are looking a little bit more for technology. What we have on the expo floor is a space that's carved out for brokers. It's a neighborhood. So if you're interested in broker technology or you're a broker, right, you can go to our brokers neighborhood. We have a brokers town square. We're going to have, a lounge area. We're going to have, hey, the folks that are exhibitors who are mainly, selling broker technology, they're going to be in that, for the most part, concentrated in that area. Just like for the life and annuity and group benefits folks, they're going to be concentrated around the life neighborhood, right? We heard people saying, hey, there's so much to see. We have almost 600 exhibitors in our expo hall, right? So much to see. It's massive. People were like, I need a place so I can sit down and take it all in and have some conversations without being on my feet all the time. So we set up these neighborhoods. We also have the LATAM neighborhood. We've run a show in the past, ITC LATAM, which we've kind of absorbed into ITC Vegas. We've got a great Latin American contingent, a very cool, there's a great soccer activation, football activation that you'll see over there. And some interesting things are happening in the LATAM neighborhood. So yeah, we've got a little bit for everyone at ITC Vegas. But yeah, we're definitely looking at, particularly for those independent agents, getting them into this community and into our event, because it's such a vital part. Insurance is sold. You need the distribution partners there. And all the carriers come to us and they're like, how can we meet more distribution partners? So it's a great opportunity to connect.
You guys are clearly listening to your sponsors, but question, are you guys
and to the delegates it's also the delegates that give us really good feedback. So yes, indeed, sponsors and delegates. Yeah.
Are you guys going to have the pets area again?
Oh, absolutely. The puppies.
That was
if I could have 12 of them, I would. Literally, we'll have a couple of puppy lounges. We have the coffee lounges. Agent Sync is doing a lounge up on our content floor. We've got Hyperscience and EY doing some great coffee lounges. Bolt has an awesome lounge right at the entrance. We're using this cosmic space theme that you see behind me. Oh my goodness, it's gonna look fantastic. Federado's back with a beer garden, so if you want to have a cold frosty beverage and have a conversation, we've got a lot happening. Oracle's doing lawn games. We've got a game lounge. We have mini golf. You're going to see a lot of stuff going on. Again, we have a massive expo floor, massive space, and we definitely spend a lot of time. That's what we do for literally 362 days a year, making sure that it's not like in other shows where you're just walking down this long corridor and it's just like a booth, and someone's like, hey, come, come take my tchotchke. Like we have fun things and lounge spaces and food and beverages and coffee and all those things to make it a really unique experience. Champagne walls also, you can get a glass of champagne. It's all kinds of little surprises and nooks and crannies that we've designed to make it feel like, kind of like you're walking through an interesting city. That's what we're trying to really make the expo hall feel like. More like if you're touring through a city, what would you see, right?
Yeah.
You'll see that design come to life.
So I have trouble with this every year. Like every year, day one, or even the night before, everyone's like, are you at this cocktail? Are you at this after party? How many after party are there that you are aware of that's happening this year?
Yeah, of that I'm aware of, there are about 55 different parties that are happening outside of what we're doing. So every day in the expo hall, about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock or so, we start off with a reception. There are expo hall receptions. Some of the booths get converted essentially into like bars. So we have receptions. We're going to have music in the expo hall. We have 2 stages, the Life and Annuity Group Benefit stage and our Innovation Alley demo stage. So our opposite ends of the hall. So we'll have musical acts happening. It's going to be awesome. But then after that, to your point, there are a lot of things happening on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. And we are actually coming up with a webpage, ITC Vegas Week. And we'll list some of those, some of the ones that are open to the public. We'll list on that page as well. And don't forget on Thursday night, which is a hallmark of the ITC experience, right? Again, it's not just like any other show. It's not like any other conference. We're having a headline music act. And last year we had Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? This year we have Grammy winners Boyz II Men. We're going to close out the show on the Mandalay Bay Beach. We've had Billy Idol, Salt and Pepper, Ludacris, UB40. We've had some great shows in the past. We're really excited about Boyz II Men this year. You get it all. You get really
Boyz II
an
Men
awful
is
lot.
OG of millennial following.
Right, right. So we're cool. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be. Really
Can I just have one recommendation? Like you guys have like a check-in area, right? And then allow people to opt into.
Yep.
Allow people to opt into text message. So this way that every single after party event, they get text and then text that, hey, at 5:30, so and so doing so and so. That'll be super
so in our app, we push out some of those.
Oh, you push it through our app.
But again, these are not our events. So part of the reason why ITC Vegas is such a great time is because essentially everyone's there, right? You're gonna there are 9,000 people. Like you can get so much done. And we've been blessed that a lot of our, sponsors and supporters and what have you also hold receptions, cocktail parties, dinners, all kinds of stuff. We also, again, we hold a kickoff event that's going to happen in House of Blues the first night. We do events in the expo hall, like receptions each night after Wednesday, Thursday when the expo hall is open, and then the closing party. So we're hosting a bunch of stuff. But, these other, 50, 55 companies are also hosting some really cool things. Not all of them are open to the public. Some of them are. We'll put that on our website. Some of them are private, events for like their customers or their clients or what have you. But there's an awful lot going on. So, and people just talk about it. So like, what newcomers, first timers, which we also have had, some first time webinars and that kind of thing. We're definitely doing more of that this year. We do a tour for first timers. A lot of first timers like, how will I know? Like, people don't know me or whatever. Like, will I get invited? A lot of times, like people just talk to each other. Like they'll be standing in line and they'll be like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Hey, I'm going to such and such, and they'll say, oh, come with me. Like you'll just get invited. You can, usually, unless it's a very small function or very private kind of invite-only party, A lot of folks, they'll accept a +1 or whatever if you're nice and you ask about it, like so. Yeah, just keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. There's a lot going on. And everyone wants to network. Again, it's InsureTech Connect. Everyone's trying to connect. People have a
Yeah.
very purposeful mission to make connections at this conference, at this event. And so a lot of times the welcome mat will be open, so many people are like triple booked. I keep on hearing from a lot of folks I know, they're like, man, like I've invited people to, I host a dinner myself, right? And people are like, man, I'm triple booked. Like, I'd love to come to your dinner, Bill, but I got 2 or 3 other invitations. Like, I'll see. I'll come for a little bit. So, yeah, there's a lot going on.
Is there anything outside of Vegas that you guys have on your horizon? Because you guys try to do a LATAM, right? Like, other
Yeah, so we did
events.
LATAM last
Yep.
year. So ITC has grown from Vegas. It's kind of a hub and spoke model. So we started off with Vegas, then we went to Singapore, to ITC Asia, right? And that's also why we've changed the name from InsureTech Connect to ITC and then geography name. So we've got ITC Vegas, ITC Asia, which is now also spun off ITC Japan. This will be the second year of ITC Japan. We bought DIA a couple of years ago. So it's ITC DIA Europe, which has alternated between Amsterdam and Barcelona, the European show. That now is spinning off also a show, ITC London, right, which is happening in January for the first time this year. And then we also have the ITC LATAM, moniker, which we've used for our Latin American audience, which this year we are having ITC LATAM at Vegas. We'll see. In the future we might do its own standalone LATAM show again. But we had such a big crossover in audience between people who went to LATAM show and people that come to Vegas. We just thought, the more people we can bring into Vegas, and because of obviously the geographic proximity of the Latin American market, like having in Miami, versus having in Vegas, like we're kind of like, that's close enough, people, let's just have a bigger Vegas show because that's better for all the participants. So we brought the LATAM community into the Vegas show. So yeah, we've got a lot going on, and that's where I've also been busy for the last like 3 years or so, helping to facilitate that growth. Last year I was all over the place, man. I went to Singapore last year. I went to London a few times last year. I went to Barcelona last year, for all these shows. So there's been an awful lot. And Nicole Peck, who's our ITC president, who came on last year as well, has really helped with putting on this growth trajectory. There's more coming still. We've set ourselves up in a very lovely position. We'll see. Maybe you'll even see like ITC Arctic or Antarctica or something like that.
You guys are still the bar, so everybody else in the industry are chasing the bar, but it's all good for the industry. And
yeah, that's what we're all
I'm
about.
gonna have Nicole on the show. I'm looking forward to tell her story as well.
Yeah. No, she's got an amazing story, and she's an event person, so she's got a very different perspective on things. And but what she's been able to add this year, like again, like the aesthetic of the show, this cosmic theme that we have. I give Nicole a lot of credit for the execution of the theme, and it's gonna look amazing.
I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Yeah.
So a year from now, why have you back on the pod? We look back on 2024, 2025. What are some of the comfortable goals coming up and uncomfortable goals that you have for yourself?
Wow. For myself, I'll start with for myself, just personally. I'm trying to. I'm getting old. I have a birthday coming up, so I'm trying to stay young. I always tell people when I started off with ITC, I was one of the young cats. I was one of the younger folks. I was one of the few people of color at ITC. That's different now. In 8 years, I'm one of the old heads. I got the gray hairs now. There are a lot of people, a lot of diversity, a lot of people of color, a lot of women starting to come. But what's really amazing is the youth, I think. So I'm trying to stay young. I'm trying to do everything I can to stay young. I've had some health challenges this year, so I'm working to drop a few lbs and get myself back into the gym and all those things that we're going to be really talking about, like on the life and annuity side. I'm all about longevity now that I've gotten old. So on that side, but on the professional side, there are some things I'm trying to accomplish. I'm trying to continue to grow ITC. We're trying to grow ITC Vegas. We're trying to grow ITC as a brand. We need to also improve a few things on the operational kind of efficiency side. There are a few things that we can do to make the experience. I'm the chief customer officer. I want to concentrate on making the experience better and easier, and like I said, frictionless for people. There's some things I think we can do without getting into too much of the secret sauce of what we do. There's some things we can certainly do to improve, and we're always striving for that perfection. I preach to my team, it's about white glove service. Our model, what we set the bar for from a customer experience perspective, is the Four Seasons. So I'm a big reader. I've read Isidore Sharp's book, The Four Seasons. Isidore Sharp was the founder of the Four Seasons hotel chain. And he talks about how, he empowers his employees at the chain to deliver service, at all costs, right? Like as if they're the CEO, like just make it right. And the way that the Four Seasons is able to anticipate the needs of their customers is legendary. Like they'll have something for you before you even ask for it. That's where I want to get ITC to be. But, we're trying to facilitate more conversations. We're trying to, just know our customer better. And as we grow and as we get more people on our team, as we grow, we have to grow the team, right? How do we get these people up to speed on the complexity and diversity and beauty of this industry? There's more that we can do there, because the more that our team members know, the better that they'll be at delivering service and understanding the nuances between what an independent agent needs versus what a carrier needs versus what an investor needs, etc. So yeah, we have some aggressive goals on that end, but it all starts with, again, it starts first and foremost, I'm trying to be healthier. I'm trying to learn more. I'm a big reader. I need to read more, learn more, talk to more people, and then take those insights and apply them into the professional side and share them downstream, so that the people that we're bringing on board, we've got some phenomenal folks that we've added to the team. It's more than just Nicole and me. Look, we have a team of nearly like 30 people that are working on ITC almost day in and day out. It's a big, complex show. Josh Grossman, who's our chief commercial officer, has been with us since early 2017. He's done a terrific job with managing, the sponsors and our partners. Terry Ryan's been with us since like 2018 or so. She's our customer support, customer experience expert. Rothio Sariagi and Bianca Dux lead our content side and our production side. We've got a lot of terrific people on operations. We've got some terrific people who deal with our sponsors. We have a whole team of people that deal with the 600 sponsors. Oh my goodness. There's just so many people. Tori Camp, who does a lot of the audience development work and has just learned a ton. We have some terrific, really smart, dedicated people who go above and beyond every day to deliver phenomenal service. So yeah, working with them to make sure that everything is that we stay really in the pole position is one of the things I'm working hard on behind the scenes. Yeah.
There's a lot of people see you, they know of you, and now they got to hear your story. So I'm gonna have another interview of you Well, I see you in Vegas, and we
Yeah,
just
let's
walk
do
around
it.
your event, and then we're gonna have another interview in person, and maybe we can grab a beer. I
Yeah.
know that's not good
Hey,
for
it's on
dropping the
me.
weight,
Beer's on me.
but we can grab a beer.
It's on me, brother. So let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. Yeah, beer, coffee, you name it. Uh, there are a lot of places to sit down and have a conversation. Uh, so we can do that, and I encourage everyone who comes to do the same thing. Just grab people. Just go up to people and introduce yourself. It's amazing because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm kind of shy. I'm kind of introverted. I'm out of my place. How do I do this?" Just you're gonna meet the most incredible people standing in line, getting a beer or a cocktail or a mocktail or a cup of coffee or picking up a badge and there's going to be a lot of things where you're just going to have these serendipitous experiences. And I hear about it all the time. They're like, I ran into so and so. I have no idea. Talk to people, introduce yourself, ask them a question. Half of the people that are coming to ITC this year are first timers, half as of right now. So there are a lot of folks that
Wow.
are just like you. They're just like you. And they're like, hey, what's happening here? What is all this? So, yeah, reach out and just be friendly, put on a smile. And I tell people, just introduce yourself and let it, yeah, let it go from there.
Bill, this is one of my favorite podcasts, favorite episode because you are OG of the community, and we're here to tell the community story. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for
thanks,
coming
man.
onto the show. And I am going to put all your contacts and links in the comment section. So, audience, make sure you connect, follow Bill. And if you got questions, sponsorships, or partnerships, make sure you reach out to Bill. And I'm going to put all the links in the comments.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You guys have a $200 off coupon code, just a promo code to join
dropping
us,
that
and
in.
absolutely drop that in. But no, Jeff, thank you. You've been a great supporter over these last few years. I appreciate you giving us some time to talk, and it's great to see you. Thank you so much.
Have a good one, guys.